This is the EVP Podcast.
Welcome to the EVP Podcast. I am one of your amazing hosts, Beaker.
I'm DVO.
I'm Ghosty.
And we have a special guest with us this week.
Who is it?
It's Brandy.
Finally.
Hey.
Okay, and the bell's going away. We're done with the bell because she's here. So we did have a new review on the Apple Podcast.
Uh-huh.
Unless there's another one that's popped up recently. I noticed this after. So our last couple podcasts, we had some people that were busy, so we recorded 2 in one night. So we didn't say this until after the fact, but we had a review. Someone said that it was a Cole 66. First, just want to say thanks for listening. Thanks for the 5-star review.
And thanks for the review.
Yeah, thanks for the review.
Thanks for the review. They said their title of their review was EVP. I don't hear it. So if you look, so I just want to just say if you're looking for EVPs during our show, you're probably not going to hear them. EVP is the name of our paranormal team. We are Energy Visions and the Paranormal, or EVP for short.
I mean, we'll look for EVPs, though.
But look for EVPs. If you find some, tell us.
Yeah.
You probably won't find any. But if you do, let us know. So he said, these guys, I'm assuming it's a he. They said, these guys do a good job telling paranormal cases and spin a good yarn and their own ghost encounters. Must be love and a crush for Brandy. Yes. There's much love from all three of us.
Yes, we love Brandy.
We love you, Brandy.
To Brandy.
Thanks, guys.
For those of you that don't know, Brandy is sort of our team medium. She's more of a consultant. We all used to work on a different team together. Brandy was the team medium for that team. Now she just kind of, if we need help or if we get stuck on something, she's the one that we turn to and she helps us out.
Yeah, I kind of retired from the paranormal. It got a little too much.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But
For
every
you.
now and then,
Every now and then I will help.
dabble and put your toes in the water.
Just a little bit.
She points us in the right direction
Yes.
With her toes.
and she tells us when we're being
Just
dumbasses.
dabbling in the water.
Speaking of EVPs, though, Beaker, I gave you your voice recorder back.
Yes.
Seemed like you went through it. So, again, just recap
I'm-
from the Haunted Museum at Zach Baggins' Haunted Museum.
So I listened to the first 45 minutes. So I didn't listen to the whole thing yet.
Okay, so it's about an hour and a half. So you're about halfway. You listened
I'm
to half
halfway
of it.
through. Yeah,
Okay.
I need to listen to the other half.
But so
So
far...
far, nothing.
Okay.
There was no EVPs. There was one thing I did notice that because I have it set up to record in like 15-minute increments,
Uh-huh.
so I can listen to 15 minutes at a time. And within the first segment, the first 15 minutes, it was probably about 10 minutes in. There was this. It was when you left the basement because you guys started out in the basement.
Yes.
Right. That was
In the
first
recording,
spot.
and there was really nothing going on in the recording there, so you guys left. It was the second room that you guys got into. The recorder started picking up this weird like electronic static,
Okay.
and then it's like I said, it wasn't in the basement, and then when you guys switched and went to the other half of the house, it went away. From what I could tell, like I said, I'm still listening, but that weird static, it didn't show up right away. It was when you guys went to that second room. I thought I found an EVP, but I also thought it was possibly Ghosty, so I sent it to you guys, and you were able to confirm that it was just he was on the other side of the room, so it sounded like an EVP.
But probably the best part so far is when on the recorder, when I took it into the bathroom with me and you heard that. So that was probably your favorite part of the recording session.
It
so
made
far.
my heart tingle. No, that first half too. I think the back half I might find something because if I remember correctly, you guys were kind of alone.
For most of the back half, we were pretty much alone.
And see, some of the problem I had with the front half is there was some stuff that I thought might have been an EVP, but then you could also hear a lot of chitter chatter from other people in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even bother like trying to look into that. It was just
Yeah, like they kind of like we mentioned on the last episode, we'd be in that like saloon room and people. It was towards the front, so some people would walk by us and look in and it's like, oh, people are here, and walk back out. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just other people just wandering around.
yeah, most
but
likely.
The back half was mostly the two of us all alone. And speaking of that, Zach Baggins, of course, was listening to our last episode, and
Yeah.
he was like, "I feel really bad that Beaker didn't come with you guys. I thought all three of you guys were gonna make it." So, he personally called Beaker up and said, "You gotta come and bring Brandy with you."
It's like, I heard it's your birthday, so
Exactly. So,
come on down.
just
and-
like with the Bucco boys, this one's on me.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
I heard it. I heard the whole thing. It happened.
totally how that went down.
Verified.
Yep.
Yep.
Verified.
Yep. Yeah, Zach's a good friend of ours.
Yeah, huge fan.
Yeah, I mean, he actually endorses this show. Not one bit. Don't take anything we say.
Full-heartedly none.
Just disclaimer: if you don't take anything that we say about celebrities being our friends seriously, but we're tight with Zach.
Super. Huge fan. Huge.
So I took that invite.
Of course.
I'm surprised Patrick didn't call you for your birthday.
No,
Oh, he did. I
says
saw.
he didn't.
I meant
it
he
was,
didn't invite you out.
Didn't you see the? Well, he wasn't in the.
I'm sure it was all over your Facebook. I missed it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was so many, like, the thousands of people I'm friends with on
It was
Facebook.
all over his face.
There were just
Book.
so many book faces of comments. It was hard to keep them all straight. So thanks to all the 60 people that said happy birthday.
But you guys just drove into Vegas like what, 2 or 3 hours
Yeah,
ago?
we got home about 3 hours ago.
Yeah,
We
right.
had to stop for food.
We got
I was
food.
hungry.
A family
we were-
tree? No.
No,
Okay.
unfortunately they're not open. I did suggest it though. I'm like, too bad they're not open, or I'd get us some scones. No, but see, we stopped and got food because someone told us they were going to a birthday party,
Yes.
and I asked where my strippergram was, and no
Here
response.
it was. Here it
It
was.
was
Waiting
here.
for you
Yep.
Waiting
in
here.
the EVP studio.
I was
So,
just
yeah.
showing my shoulders tonight. Sorry.
Ow, ow. So is Peaches.
Right.
I'm getting all the
Quite
your
the
shoulder?
show.
Oh,
you
you-
had quite
I'm only
the show.
getting I'm only getting 4 of the 6 shoulders.
Actually, you probably need to mention
He's showing his head though.
Brandy also goes by Peaches.
Oh yes, Brandy is Peaches.
Yes. One and the same person.
Interchangeable.
She's schizophrenic. Watch is why she can see ghosts. That's not true actually.
That's why my pronouns are they, them.
No,
Because it's always plural.
I think we're getting political.
No, we're not getting political.
No, we're not. So I don't know if we mentioned it, but just a little bit about you real quick. So how long have you been seeing things? And what is it that you can do exactly for those that don't know?
I see dead people
Yes, I do.
and dead dinosaurs.
I have been seeing spirits since I was between 5 and 6 years old. So my first spirit that I saw was my great-great-grandmother, Annie, who is my spirit attachment. But ever since I saw her, I just kept seeing more and more. So my population is double. than
You said your
everybody
grandma or
else's.
great grandma?
My great-great-grandma.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, she's my double great.
Was she trying to make herself known to you?
At that point, when I very first saw her, yes.
I got goosebumps thinking of that.
I had a situation where I was with my father, and he was cooking supper, and I'm an only child, so I was outside playing, and he calls me in, and all of a sudden my grandma shows up, and
His
I'm-
side?
yeah, on his
Okay.
side. So, and being a child, Annie, I love her, but she is a burn victim. And I see dead people as they died.
Okay.
So she is very scarred, very hard to look at. For a child, it'd be horrifying.
Yeah.
But I felt a happy presence with her, so I didn't feel afraid.
Okay.
Basically, she was keeping me outside because there was something in the house that she thought was malevolent or not necessary. So it kind of forced my father to come out and get me to come to dinner.
Right.
So when he came out to say, hey, you need to come inside, she kind of rushed in there and shooed whatever was in there away.
Okay.
And that was kind of like the first step in my seeing spirits from that point on.
Interesting.
But yeah, so I see spirits as they died. I can see crossed over spirits now. I didn't used to be able to do that, but now I can have developed that gift.
How is that possible?
Meditation,
Oh, so just like working on yourself,
Working on myself, self-care,
Level up.
leveling up. Yeah.
There we go.
I can also
She ate the green mushroom.
yes.
I want one.
I can feel dead remains that have been buried in the ground. I can open the light. I can close it. I can move energy. There's so many things that I've been able to do, but it's taking me up until this point. I'm, 38 years old, so it's from age 5 to 38 to get this far.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
It's been helpful. I can see malevolent entities also, and I can tell the difference between malevolent and also, human.
And you could see them in videos and pictures.
Yep, I can do that also. And people always ask me, how do I know the difference between, because I see them, full color, full spectrum.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, how do you know the difference between humans and dead people? And I was, well, you're alive, you have blood flow, you got big energy when you have all that stuff going through you. When you're dead, you don't have any of that. So your energy's kind of dulled,
Which is why, like, spirits need to get some type of energy, EMF or whatever, to kind of interact. Or okay, that makes sense.
I mean, I think another giveaway would be when you're talking to a person that no one else seems to notice or hear in the room. Then I think that might be a dead giveaway that it's not a living person.
So until recently, you were doing tons of investigations, whether it was buildings or homes. Why do you do that then? Because you know it's there. Why do you do it?
Well, when I first started out doing investigations, because I've been able to do it for so long, I never actually did investigations till I met Beaker.
Oh.
And
it's my fault.
We got kind of not forced, but kind of pulled onto a team.
Okay.
And which was the old team that we had. But they thought that my gifts would be useful in investigation sort of situation for helping the clients, helping their loved ones pass away, or just helping people in general getting that uncomfortable feeling kind of, like it's not fearful. We can deal with this. There's different ways to deal with this, and just give them their options. And just to kind of help both the living and the dead, because some of the dead, some of them don't know that they're dead, or some just don't know how to cross over, or when, or they're confused. And since
I can see that, yeah,
kind of helping the dead also and the living,
interesting,
on both sides.
That makes sense. The reason why I do it too is just to help people.
Some people do it I've heard people are just interested in it, that's kind of cool, paranormal, is there really life after death sort of thing. And for me, I can confirm that there's life after death, basically.
Okay.
I feel like it's kind of like practice on developing gifts too.
Yeah.
Well, you and I, you were kind of doing it when you were a kid, shut it off for a while, but as an adult, you started doing it again. I didn't know anything as a kid. Mine was through doing these investigations, meeting a friend of ours, a now friend of ours. She was a guest on the old show. Introduced me to energy work, and it just kind of hit me that day. I'm like, well, I feel like I have gifts. I just don't know what they are, how to use them. And it was from that point on where I started developing, and I'm sure it's the same for you. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. So it's not like you just wake up one day like so many people that I've met that are just like, I'm a medium now. And to me, it doesn't work that way. You have to put in the time, the effort. It's like anything you do in life. It doesn't just, you don't trip over and stumble into paranormal or, gifts like this. You have to put, one, you have to be born with it. But two, you have to put the time in it to help it grow and develop. It's not just going to do it on its own. It's like planting a seed in a flower pot and hoping that it grows. It doesn't work that way.
Well, and everybody has some sort of natural, defense. Their gifts may not be as heightened as others. Everybody's level is different. And sometimes you just peak, and that's where you're at. And some people choose to block it out, and that's cool if they're not ready for that. And some people choose to embrace it. It's just all on what makes you comfortable and what you want to do with it.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, that
fun.
makes sense.
So, tell us about
Tell
the
us.
Haunted Museum. Well,
you-
actually, I want to know, did you go to the basement at all?
Yep.
Okay, when you went down to the basement, did it seem like that wasn't the whole basement?
No, there had to have been more.
Yeah,
They walled it
it's-
off that way on purpose.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's much more to it, but I didn't feel anything too negative. It was kind of heavy down there, of course.
It felt empty in there, which was weird because when I went a few years ago, you weren't able to go down there, but it looked from my third eye vision, it looked completely open, and I could see things kind of going back and forth. And when we went down there, it was nothing like that. It was
Well,
like you
they've
automatically
said-
have to turn to the right.
They've said it's a storage place, so they said that while we were there.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he said that one mirror's down there now.
Yeah, so they've said it's
There
a storage
is
place,
a
but
storage,
they've
yes.
walled it. Yeah, they've walled it.
I'm sure that's not the only way to get into the basement.
I'm sure there's a back way.
In
But
my
the-
fist.
The basement had
time.
the basement had a very interesting story that he said went along with that. I guess Jenna Jameson, her family owned that house in the 70s.
Oh,
And they actually have a copy of Jenna's brother's birth certificate showing that address of that house as where he lived when he was born.
Oh, interesting.
So,
And some of her fine work is probably stored there too. Just she's a celebrity.
yeah,
Her finest work.
Yeah, in the 70s.
sometimes.
But I
at
guess
night
she
you
was.
can still
They
hear
even
moans.
they even had like a video that went along with it that showed the text messages that she sent him saying that there was possibly satanic rituals that happened in the basement and all that.
Wait, from who to who?
From Jenna Jameson to Zach Baggins.
Oh, okay.
they're buddies.
He's friends with
You
everybody.
didn't
Like
tell
Post
us
Malone.
about
Well, so we went
Holly
on
Madsen.
So they came out with a new tour, I think recently. I don't know if it was last year or this year. They have a new tour called the RIP tour, which is like your kind of like a VIP tour, but they RIP because it's
I see what they
spooky.
did there.
that. I get it.
So one of the first things that they did on the RIP tour is they take you in,
Bathe you.
they bathe you, they dress you, do a little dance, make a little love, and get down tonight. No, they take you in this room, and I remember there's that creepy like animatronic lady that was, I guess, he used to be on the exit of like a roller coaster at some amusement park, like in the 20s or 30s, and it was supposed to like be cheerful and happy for kids. And this thing was creepy as fuck. Not haunted, but the thing is, like they straight up told us from the beginning, not everything in the building is haunted.
Right.
A lot of it's there just for looks and effects. I mean, there are haunted things there, and they point out all the haunted things to you on the tour, if not all of them, most of them. But one of the cool things is they, on the RIP tour, in that first room, they actually had a room around the corner that had a bunch of haunted dolls in it.
It's like a little closet.
Yeah.
Is what it would look like.
And this was a part of the tour that only RIP members got to go in. There's this little doll room. If you didn't have it, and it just so happened everybody in our group had the RIP pass, so we all got to go in the room. They told us about the little girl named Gretchen.
Yes.
Little girl named Gretchen that was attached to one of the dolls. And they, told us it's in the glass case. It was kind of in a glass case, kind of like Annabelle, locked up and all that. That's one of the spirits, or one of the dolls that had an energy or an attachment.
Is that
to
the
it.
one where they tell you have to say hi and bye?
No, that was
No, that was the witch.
Okay.
that was Peggy, I think.
Peggy.
That was later in the tour.
Oh yeah.
This was right at the beginning, like when we first got in. And this little girl, the Gretchen, found Brandy like right away and wanted to keep Brandy's amethyst ring.
Yeah, I saw her and I got down, on her level because I have kids of my own, so kids, intimidated by size. So
Yeah.
got down on her level, and she was looking at my ring, so I offered it to her to look at, and she looked at it and thought it was pretty, and she wanted to interact with me, and I just told her, just be patient. I'll come and interact with you in your space. And so after, everybody had their turn of going in there, I kind of interacted with her for a minute, told her, hey, if you want to hang out, that's cool, but you can't come home with me. So
Now, when you say you talk to her, what does that mean?
I talk to her like I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay.
I speak normally like I would to anybody else, and it looks like I'm talking to nothing.
Uh-huh.
But for me, it's just another person.
Right.
For everybody else, I'm talking to air.
Yeah.
So, but
And I knew that. Just
And
for
if,
the
if
listeners
this
and viewers.
spirit were to speak another language, you would still be able to understand them?
I wouldn't. I've had spirits that spoke other languages that I'm like, I can't understand you. Do you speak English? I do know a little bit of Spanish and a little bit of Italian, so I've been able to speak to other spirits in those languages, but it doesn't interpret into English for me. It's like if you
Yeah.
spoke something and I didn't, same thing. It doesn't change.
Okay.
It's like those memes you see on Facebook making fun of Zach going to like some castle in Romania and speaking English to the spirits. Chances are, unless they died recently speaking English, the old spirits, like say Vlad the Impaler was at his castle, probably not going to speak English. But I think the next room we went into, because it was kind of like an Old West like poker room.
Right.
Yeah, the
they had
saloon, yeah.
The saloon, they had
Yeah.
the Bible of Wyatt Earp. That had some really cool positive energy on that thing. I liked that. Now, one of the things that they did tell us right from the get-go, even before we started the tour and on the tour, the house was built in like 1930 something. I don't know. They said that the house was built for like 5 people, and only 4 of them made it to the house because their son, who was 7 years old, I can't remember his name, started with a J.
James, I think.
James, it could be his name.
Right.
He died before they moved into the house. And then they said that there's rumors of people seeing him, or like even his siblings said that they were playing with him after they moved in the
Was
house.
he in the house, Brandy?
Yes, he is.
He was in the saloon room.
He was hiding under a table.
Yeah, were they playing poker?
Is that the room that we were getting the
Yeah.
the EMF to start spiking?
Yeah, it was like interacting.
Did you
with
hear that in the
I think
recording?
that was not.
Oh, that's on the second half, huh?
No, it was the
That was
first half.
yeah, that was right in the beginning.
Yeah, I heard that then. Yes.
So yeah, that one. We did get a lot of interaction.
That
in
room was where we had a lot of interaction.
Oh, you thought you were talking to a female spirit.
No, that was in the room with the Zoltaire.
Oh, yeah, that's the first room.
That's the first room.
Yeah.
That's the
That-
very first one.
So that would have been probably the little girl Gretchen then.
Yeah.
Oh,
That would've
Yeah,
been
because
her.
it was a little girl.
that's right. It was a little
That's
girl
what I
that
was
we were
thinking,
talking
yeah.
to.
That's
It
what
was
I was
funny because it was like,
And she said she was attached to an item in the room.
yeah, that would have been Gretchen that you were
yes.
talking to.
What was the item? Do
What
you know
is
what
she
item it
attached
was?
to?
The doll in the glass case.
From another room,
Yeah.
but she hangs out in there.
So you know how I told you the first room where the Zach Baggins Zoltaire thing is?
yes,
So just to the right,
Right.
of that, if you're facing it, there's that
right,
little closet.
and then on the left.
No, it was straight back, like when you walked in. There was
Yes,
there
yes,
was
yes, yes.
there
That's what I
was
mean. But
another
if you turned right, it's on your left.
yeah.
See? Yeah.
So yeah, it was the only doll in that room that was behind a glass case.
right.
Yeah, that's
So before, when I first went on this tour a few years ago, they had it in the glass case like that, but they also had a ghost box going on constantly, and you could try to interact with it. But now that they let you just rent one to go through the tour, I don't know.
so on the tour they had 2 rooms that had a ghost box going, a spirit box. The basement had a spirit box going, and then the room with Peggy had a spirit box going. And I'll get to that in a little bit because that was towards the end of the tour. So yeah, we went to the saloon. I think after that, there
Which
were-
I was interacting with
With
the little
James,
boy.
yeah.
Yeah, with the little boy.
I wonder if he was one playing with the EM or the K2.
All of the kids seemed to like my amethyst ring
Oh,
that were in
interesting.
there, so I would interact with them. It was kind of fun.
What is it you think about that ring that they're interested in?
Probably the color and the energy that's on it.
Okay.
I bought it from a local crystal shop here, and I liked it because it had a lot of energy on it. So I think that they can see that.
Okay, all right.
then we went in that room that had the actual skeletons that they found buried in the walls.
Yeah,
like,
in
New York.
England. Yep.
It was England. Yeah, that's
Yep.
right. And there was some group. I can't remember the name of the group. Basically, they talked about like how funerals were expensive, but if you joined this group, that they would bury you for free, but you weren't always guaranteed an actual proper burial. Like they said, these 2 skeletons, and they're actually human skeletons. They actually had like 12 skeletons on the wall too.
Yeah,
Skulls, sorry.
Yeah.
those are actual human bones remains.
That was actually the room we asked about the EVP. That was the room.
Oh, okay.
Because I was mentioning if I should put the recorder down on like the piano or something that was there.
Gotcha. But that group, if you were in that group, there's some weird initiation. You had to sit on like a mechanical goat and they'd drag you around the room and all that stuff. But they would bury you for free when you died, whether it be in the walls, like they found those 2 skeletons, or in the ground, or wherever they felt like, pretty much. But we have our own form of initiation if you want to join this group. I can't remember for the life of me what the group was called.
Lambda.
Yeah. But they're like, and this is again another RAP only thing, where they had this little dark tunnel that you had to crawl through.
Into the next room.
Into the next
Oh,
room.
I did that.
Yeah, he did it.
Yeah, we did it too. So, but it
Yeah,
was
she started to go in and then backed out, and she's like, "I can't see in the dark." And I just looked at her, I'm like, "And I can."
I can't see worth the shit in the
So
dark.
I mean, that's the thing is, this
It
was
dark
pitch.
as shit. I
It
know.
was
I went
pitch.
through.
It was pitch black. Like you weren't seeing anything.
I just kind of held onto the walls, like to the side, and felt the baseboards as I'm moving around.
I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go for it.
Well, I went in and I did kind of like what you'd see blind people doing with their cane. I just tapped around, felt the walls, and guided myself that way until you got towards the end, and there was a light from the next room coming in, so it was easier to see to get out. But at first, because it kind of winded a bunch, like you can't see where it's going. So that's literally what I did: is just stuck my arm out and swung it back and forth to feel where the wall was, and that's how I got through it.
But you know what? It actually just was a U shape.
Yep, pretty much.
But it just did a lot of little straight edges in there that
Yep.
made it seem like it was doing a lot of
Yeah.
zigzag turns.
Because we had flashlights.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we didn't have any flashlights.
Yeah, you were
man.
on the ghost hunt with the flashlights. So
But it was pitch black, so best believe I used my flashlight.
so the next room, they had some animatronic wizard doll. Like it was just a bunch of marionettes and stuff.
Uh-huh.
There wasn't really anything in that room.
Right.
Nothing cool. It was just like the one doll that they pointed out. I guess the guy that made them made like 25. There's only 6 left in existence right now, and Zach has one of them. But there was no attachments to anything in that room. So it was just a bunch of cool dolls and stuff.
Yeah,
But
it's a collection.
that was a collection. That's all that was in that room. Then we went into, I want to say it was Jack Kevorkian's room.
Yes.
So they have the actual, they had, I think some of the instruments he used, they had the actual bus they call the death bus.
Right.
Where he actually helped with like over 100 assisted suicides in that bus. If you don't know who Jack Kevorkian is, it was this doctor in the 90s that was really big on assisted suicides. If people were in pain, he would help them die.
They painted him to be a pretty bad guy, but he wasn't.
No, I don't think so. They actually had some of his art too, some of his artwork. I walked in and there was like a painting he did where there was a guy like hand stretched out like he was falling down a tunnel and like holding himself up, and I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, he did.
And you mean the
art.
media painted him as a...
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember as a child.
Like, this guy's crazy. This guy's nuts.
Yeah, like they would show his like mugshot, and they would like talk about him as like this
Even his
murderer.
name sounded like
Yeah,
a
it was like
bad guy's name.
Kevorkian sounds like
Well, he
a
was
sinister.
convicted, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was convicted.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
think he only served like 8 years and was out on good behavior. And it was only 2nd degree manslaughter. It wasn't even like 1st degree or anything like that. So
But the bus had crazy energy. I mean,
Did it really?
It was nuts in there. And then they have like the title to the bus, so they can authenticate that that is the bus hanging on the wall.
Oh, got it.
So yeah, this bus was supposed to have been destroyed. Like they dropped it off. Like Kevorkian's lawyer, they dropped it off at one of those shops that are supposed to that have the big machines that crush cars. They're supposed to put it down into a cube. Yeah. So as far as the Kevorkian's lawyer knew, it was crushed, and then somehow Zach found it. They mentioned it in the video. They found it and they were able to authenticate it. They brought in the lawyer. They had pictures of when they dropped it off at the junkyard or the salvage yard, and pictures of it when they found it, and like the dents and everything just matched. And so they with the help of Kevorkian's lawyer, they were able to actually confirm that this bus that should have been destroyed was the actual bus that Kevorkian used to commit these assisted suicides in. That his stuff had, yeah, like she said, crazy energy on it. The next room that I remember going into, this is probably one of the rooms I disliked the most. And they thought it was funny when I told them that, because most people, I guess, don't have issues with this room. But the next room was the serial killer room, Or they had stuff from Ted Bundy. They had stuff from John Wayne Gacy. They had stuff from Richard Ramirez.
Right, like a bunch of their letters.
They had the guy, well, Ted Bundy, they had his mask, his ice pick, his glasses. They had his whole murder kit. John Wayne Gacy, they had Polaroids of him, some of his artwork that he did while he started painting.
Charles Manson.
They had Charles Manson. They actually had parts of Charles Manson's remains. They had some of his actual bones.
Oh, that's right. They do have some of that.
And they had like a bloody handprint from Charles Manson, his toe tag, a bunch of stuff. And then the thing that really pulled my energy and caught me off guard was nothing from any of these like notorious killers. It was just some random encyclopedia book set from World War II that was found in Alcatraz. They didn't have a story behind it. They just got it, they acquired it, and put it in that room. That, for me, that had the most weird energy on it. But I think just all the energy from all these artifacts, from all these serial killers, this room filled with death from actual people. I think that's what kind of tugged on my energy and kind of drained me a little bit. I did not like the feeling in that room at all. And it wasn't anything to do with paranormal. It was just the energy that these evil people had still on some of their artifacts, especially Charles Manson's bones. Like, Charles Manson.
Yeah.
How did they get his bones? Didn't he die in prison?
It was cremated.
He's cremated, and I think he got...
When you get
I think
cremated,
they
it
divvied
doesn't-
out some of those.
Yeah, they just like rummaged through it and like, okay, here's some.
He got some of the
toes.
bigger pieces.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Lurch talked about this when he was on our show, but when you cremate someone, it doesn't destroy everything. There's
Right.
still bone fragments
Yeah,
and
you
stuff
have
like
that
that.
big old femur
So,
still.
Yeah.
so like when they collect the ashes to give to the family members, they have to sift out all the bones and stuff. So you're
Yeah.
getting just the ashes.
Well, they can crush down the bones. Like, you can crush bone. It just takes a lot of work.
Yeah, sure.
I think from there, that's when we got to there was that death guitar.
Right. There was the death guitar. There was also some other thing that was in there too, wasn't there? There was a couple artifacts in that room.
I think just that room was just the death guitar.
It was weird. Had some strange energy on that thing.
But then they let us go into the basement, and that's when they told us about Jenna Jameson hitting him up and the satanic rituals that happened in the basement. And I walked the wrong direction around the pentagram.
And then that mirror.
Oh, the mirror from the dude that was in Dracula, like the 1920
Lugosi.
Dracula.
Yeah,
Lugosi. They had his mirror that he used to do scrying with, and that mirror had a lot of energy. They said that like people would look in the mirror and they would feel like queasy, woozy, and stuff like that. And
Yeah, they did that in one of their Halloween specials too, where they had people, I think fans walking around.
Bela
live.
Lugosi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and someone was like looking at. Yeah, I was like feeling faint and everything.
But in the basement, they had a spirit box running in the room with the pentagram in it, and I wasn't thinking. I walked. You always want to do things in clockwise direction. Like when you're saging your home or whatnot, you want to go clockwise. I wasn't thinking, and I ran around the pentagram counterclockwise, and everybody followed me that was with us. Yay.
It's not a real
I was
pentagram,
spinning
though.
in the opposite direction as I walked. So
The thing is,
kind of reversed the voodoo juju. You
But
know?
they just spray painted that for visual effect. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like a real pentagram.
The energy, I didn't feel much down there. To be
I didn't
honest.
feel
Yeah, I
anything.
didn't
And
either.
then listening to the audio, like you guys seemed like you were bored in the basement.
Yep. We weren't there long.
Yeah, it was like, okay, this sucks. Let's go.
Yeah, it was not even like 10 minutes. You guys were up and out of there. And like when I got upstairs, they were like saying like, "Oh, what did it feel like? What was the energy down there?" And by this time, we had like a different tour guide. They switched out on us, and I go, honestly, I felt a lot like I kind of got lightheaded and felt a little just heavy energy in the serial killer room. And I'm like, that room was way worse than the basement. And the lady's like, really? She's like, the basement's really bad for a lot of people. And I'm just like, I don't see it. The basement, in my opinion,
I think it's all in the, in
In
the
the
effect,
psyche,
in the
yeah.
yeah. It's just
because
you think, basement,
you didn't
enclosed
hear anything
pentagram.
coming from the spirit box, or there was just static noise. The other spirit box, we'll get to that. That was actually kind of cool. I know
Go on.
we walked through. There was so much. I can't remember everything that we went through.
So I can't remember the order, but one of the rooms I remember specifically, they had a bunch of like human items in jars. So like a head of a midget and like a hand and like a brain, a
Okay,
piece of
yeah.
a brain.
I remember
They
that.
talking. They had like a big old clown in there, and I'm chlorophobic, so I was like, nope.
That was yeah. That was
It means you're afraid of chloroform.
chloroform.
Like you pass out when it gets around you.
Every time
So
you smell it, you pass out.
Before that, this is when we were still with the second guide. They had the Dead Celebrities room.
Oh, that's right.
So in the Dead Celebrities room, you had a chair that Michael Jackson owned. That his physician used to sit in when they gave him his medicine or whatever, and they said there was still like makeup for Michael Jackson on the chair. There was Jerry Lewis's like costumes, and there was like a little scene from the Day the Clown Cried or something like that. Some movie that was made but was never released because of the
There's a stigma that movie was made so that it could be watched by the children that were going through the concentration camps before they were put into the gas chamber.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was supposed to make the children happy
Yeah.
because they were trying to kill them.
Right,
you know?
right.
So yeah, they never released that movie. You had Patrick Swayze. They had like one of his teeth. They had his passport that was his picture was taken like 2 months before he died. I guess in the picture, he didn't know that at the time he had the disease that killed him. They had like some of the kryptonite from the set of Superman from Christopher Reeve.
Actual kryptonite
Well, the
From
prop.
Krypton.
from
Yes.
what the
Yes,
hell?
I know. It was amazing, right? They also had a lot of Thomas Capote's stuff.
I don't know who
And they
that
had
is.
like a ton of pill bottles, like 20 pill bottles. And they're like, this is everything they found in him when they found him.
Who
when
was
he died.
that?
Thomas Capote.
Who's that though?
He was a writer, I think. They made some movie about him,
Oh, okay.
Capote.
I don't even know who it
I
is.
haven't seen the movie. I don't know much about him. Some of the things that really I thought was cool in that room, they did have the vest, the outfit or whatever, the costume that Brandon Lee was wearing when he was shot and killed during the making of The Crow.
Yep.
They had, and this one I think really hit Brandy kind of hard. They had the jacket that Robin Williams was wearing in What Dreams May Come.
Yeah, he is my favorite. I
Love
loved
him,
him, and when
yeah.
he died, it killed me.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it very well.
Love Robin Williams.
I think it's funny. His anniversary of his death is the day before my birthday, so there's that. The one thing that I thought was really interesting in this room was they had the wedding dress of Sharon Tate.
Oh.
And they gave this history of Sharon Tate and how she was murdered by the Manson family and all that. And when they got done, like when they were letting us go in the Ghostbuster room and seeing all the Ghostbuster memorabilia, I looked at the lady and I'm like, did you know that they actually weren't there to kill Sharon Tate? And she's like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, like that was just a complete accident.
Yep.
Because the people that owned the house before Sharon Tate were actually some of the members of the Beach Boys. And the Beach Boys had done something or said something on one of their albums. They wrote it. They put a song out that Charles Manson claimed that it was his song and that they stole it from him. So he actually sent his followers out to kill the members of the Beach Boys.
What? I didn't hear this.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, this is true. Look it up. Yeah, they were actually there to kill the Beach Boys or whichever one of the Beach Boys lived in the house, or they thought lived in the house. I guess he had actually sold the house and the Tates had moved in. Sharon Tate was also an actress. So they were actually there to kill the Beach Boys. This had all that stuff to do with the Helter Skelter and stuff like that because they claimed the Beach Boys stole. Charles Manson said
This
they
is
stole one
crazy.
of his songs.
So we grew up listening to the Beach Boys just because it's like my dad's favorite band, and so I feel like I know the Beach Boys. So this hits me deeply.
So did you know the Beach Boys actually, in the Salt Air 2, before it was torn down, the Beach Boys actually did one of their cover albums there at Salt Air.
Yep, and they performed at Lagoon many, many times.
They love it here. They actually have a song called Salt Lake City.
Did you know that?
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Look
We'll
it up.
We'll have to do an episode.
They even talk about Lagoon in it.
Yeah, they did perform a lot at Lagoon. But yeah, she wasn't supposed to have been there.
That's
not who
crazy.
They were like there, so this is what we're gonna do. And she was like 8 months pregnant too when they killed her.
Yeah, I guess
Wow.
Charles Manson and Dennis Wilson, the famous Brian
Oh.
Wilson, his brother, had a brief and bizarre friendship. I'm not going to go into details, but I just kind of saw this real quick as you mentioned that.
Maybe another episode.
And then they showed us like these
Maybe.
wax head that came out of like the Winchester Mystery House. They have no idea why they had these heads. Like apparently the employees at the Winchester mansion were not allowed to talk about the heads or where they came from or anything like that. And they're just like, okay, we'll take them. So they got all these wax heads.
All these like taxidermied animals and weird shit.
And they're showing us. I feel like we're missing something, but I don't really. Oh, they at the Ed Gein room.
Oh yeah, that was gross, huh?
They showed us the cauldron that Ed Gein, they actually found body parts of some of his victims in the cauldron, the shovel that he used to kill people. There's some dude that, like, I guess when he passed away, donated part of his body so they could have it as...
human leather skin.
So you can see what leather skin was, like what Ed Gein actually did, what skin looked like when you turned it into a leather suit.
As
it wasn't
example.
one of actually. Yeah,
Right.
it was some like fan, I guess, or whatever. It wasn't one of his actual victims, but and the one thing is I think it's funny is like they talk about all the stuff Ed Gein did, but no one ever mentions that Ed Gein actually killed his brother too. I don't think they ever confirmed. I don't think they were able to confirm that, but it is believed Ed Gein actually killed his brother, and that was probably his first victim. But then in the taxidermy room, they're saying something. They're like, the next cool thing is on that wall right behind you. And then the next tour guide opens up the door, and I damn near shit my pants.
I was the only person that didn't jump because I could feel the energy on the other side of the thing. So when she turned and opened the door, I just turned around and looked at her. And everybody else was like...
That's when they took us into the part of the clown rooms. And they showed us the head and the hand and the brain and the heart. And told us a little bit about it, and then they had us. This the next part we just kind of hurried through because they actually had an actor dress up as a clown jumping out and scaring people.
Oh really?
So they went upstairs and you're going through a fun house.
Oh yeah, the fun
Well,
house.
Beaker turns around because they open the door and you can see just peering into the corner that it's a room full of clowns. He's like, "Do you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do this." And if somebody jumps out at me and they're gonna get punched in the throat, I have no problem in doing that. And the lady, the guide, was just like. Looked at me like, okay.
So the reason why I said that is I had seen the actor jump out at the two people ahead of us. That's why I was like, "You want to do this?" Fortunately, they didn't jump out again while we were going through. But
I might have been arrested at that point.
She basically closed her hands and closed her eyes. She closed her eyes, held onto my hands, and I guided her through the fun house. So we went through that part really quick. And again, it was just a bunch of props just to kind of scare people.
I'm working on my fear of clowns. It's just deep seated from when I was a child. My parents did not restrict me in any sort of way with music or movies, and I watched the original It at a very young age, and it scarred me for life.
So I think after
I can see that.
Another part of their RAP access. Oh, one of the parts of the RAP access is in that. Before the funhouse, there was that the wagon they let us go in that Aaron, I guess he was investigating and got some like EVP or on a spirit box or something telling him not to turn around and to leave or whatever, and then he got pushed or something. That might be a different part of the museum, but that's what I remember, so that's what I'm saying.
Is it a chuck wagon? You say wagon?
Kind of like a wagon, like a circus wagon.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so it was a room that had like a display of like miniatures, like a miniature circus that some guy had taken like so many years of his life to complete. So it was just
10
like
years.
it was like it was cool. That's a lot of dedication, but
That was a different room.
Right?
Yeah, that's all that room was is just a circus recreation miniature thing. You can see one of those at Lagoon too. The next room I remember is that serial killer that would like kill people on the bed.
That room had some really nasty energy.
They had like actual, I guess, fecal matter from the
Yeah,
last
how
murder victim still on the
disturbing
sheets.
is that room?
They
There's
had
like no
pins
ghosts in there, but
in the
just
mannequin.
He'd had a
the
bar
wedge
behind
bar,
the
the wooden
back.
bar, and like the little needles that's sticking in the shoulders to create the circuit.
They had like Polaroids the guy took of like his victims.
Before
There's like some of his cotton swabs that he'd dip in bleach to like blind his victims. They had feathers that were in a cigar box. They had his knives that he used to cut them up, and one looked just like a really dull bread knife, and like one was like a steak knife. That room was just like, it wasn't any paranormal. It was just the energy was heavy because of what the guy did. And there's some dress. They have no idea what the significance of the dress was. The dude just had it hanging on his wall near his victims.
twisted.
I think the next room I remember after that, I think, was the Peggy room.
Yes, the Peggy room.
So Peggy was another doll, and I guess the lady that donated it to the museum or gave it to the museum, like, had a bag over its head, and she said she couldn't look into its eyes because it made her feel sick or whatever. And I guess there's a lot of people that didn't like looking in the eyes. The doll is supposed to be like really creepy, and this one, this doll is actually haunted. And the way I know that without Brandy telling me is this is the other room they had a spirit box in. And they told us, like, when you go in the room, say, hi, Peggy. They walked around, you look at the doll.
Okay,
and when you're leaving the room, you say, bye, Peggy.
You're a temperamental bitch.
So
I remember that lady came on because Zach had a show when he first had his museum, and people would come in and like talk about the items they were bringing to him. And I remember this lady coming on talking about this doll.
So the way I knew that this doll was actually haunted is after everybody went through, the guide went back to say, bye, Peggy, and I heard the spirit's voice coming through the spirit box. So I wasn't actually in the room, but I heard it. And I just confirmed with the guide. I'm like, wait, was that voice coming through the spirit box? And she's like, yep. So I actually heard the spirit through the spirit box in that room.
Oh, did they say bye?
I didn't hear what
Yeah,
she said.
she was saying,
said,
because everybody went through, like, Beaker went in, I was like, go clockwise.
Mm-hmm.
So we all went around.
well, that's the only way you could
and we
go.
all say, hello as we walked in, and we all said goodbye as we left.
Uh-huh.
And the guide was the last one out, and she's like, okay, goodbye, Peggy. And then you hear her say goodbye back.
Oh, interesting.
I can hear her.
Yeah, yeah.
But everybody else heard it through the spirit box.
Oh, interesting.
Then
What does
we
Peggy
went,
look like?
She's hard to describe. She is shorter in stature, and she has like dark brown hair, and she has the attachment. The doll looks different, but the actual attachment, and she has very doe brown eyes, very pointed small nose, small cleft chin, broad cheeks, and it looks like she was almost like she was suffocated because she has like the blue lines up through her face, like if you were asphyxiated. So I don't know. I didn't ask too many questions. I didn't want to read into it because I didn't want the energy. I didn't like the energy whatsoever. So I wasn't going to invest my energy into it. But yeah, she's pretty.
human spirit, yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, from the way you just described it. So the next room, and this is where they had like a warning and all that, and they played a video. They showed Post Malone in the video because there was some ashes from some person that was in like the beginning of the tour that they put the ashes on top of this most haunted object in the world. I didn't feel shit from it. The Dybbuk box.
You didn't feel anything from it?
No, not a damn thing.
That shit was scary.
Yeah, what
For
do
me.
you think, Brandy? Did you get anything off of it?
Yeah, there was a lot of ominous, like, it wasn't, I kind of felt like my skin was crawling when I went. Like, I had goosebumps, and I just felt very unsafe in that room. So I quickly went through that room. And then
Oh, okay, all right.
So I now see what you're talking about, the wood and the glass and all that. So that wall wasn't originally there. They put it there after they opened the damn thing. But yeah, that I personally didn't feel anything off that. That's just me. But I was thinking about it more when we talked about it, like when it said it was, pushing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, yeah, I saw the salt and everything that you were talking about. And they had like Jewish like words written on the glass or something because it's a Dybbuk is a Jewish demon, to contain it, and it's definitely contained, in my opinion. Because like I said, I didn't feel anything, but I mean it was definitely kind of had that creepy feel to it. And I think for me it was just because they talked it up so much. But the Brandy was able to confirm that that's exactly what it was doing, like kind of what you and I thought, Ghosty. Because it can't get through, it still can send out like a radar, like a pulse, or she used the word beacon, trying to lure you in to get you in. I didn't feel that, obviously. I think there was other people in the room, i.e. Brandy, and the other girl that claimed that she's a medium, which she's not. I think there was more vulnerable people in the room that it was trying to get at, where I'm not as vulnerable, so it wasn't really affecting me.
So
as much.
when I went there the first time, I felt a lot of crazy energy coming from it before they opened it, and I still felt it even after it because it's still in there. But yeah, I
think
still
had I
feel it.
been there with you guys and it was just the three of us in the room, I probably would have felt something. But with Brandy in the room, and there's probably like another 4 or 5 females, I kind of get the feeling that this spirit was more on the side of like attacking females. I don't think it was really intimidated by men or trying to intimidate men. I think it was more wanting to scare or deal with females. I think that's why I didn't feel anything. Because there was like, in a group of 10 of us, there was probably like 6 women. So that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from the Dybbuk box, and I think that's why I didn't feel anything. The thing that I felt something from, the thing that I think is actually the most haunted object in that museum, it gave me the creeps. Brandy couldn't be in the room with it for more than like a minute, so they filed us into this room. And then they tell us about the devil in Connecticut. The demon in Connecticut, the devil made me do it. And we just talked about this a couple weeks ago. So on the way home, I called DVO and I gave him one piece of information because I refused to talk to you guys about this and tell you anything about the... so everything you guys are hearing is you're hearing it first time right now as I'm telling it. So I did call him. I didn't tell you this. I told him this, and he didn't put much thought into it. In this chair, so this is the devil's chair is what they call it. This chair is actually the chair that David Glatzel sat in during some of these exorcisms.
And I mistake because on our episode I said I think it came from the Perrin family house. Well, so I was mistaken.
So this came from David Glatzel. This is a chair that he was actually in. They did play a clip from one of the exorcisms of Lorraine Warren. Oh. They did play, and this is on the end of the movie too. So the clip that's on the end of the movie is the clip that they played in this room. And part of the RAP access is they actually opened up, because there's like a barrier that separates you, and because they have this big trap door that opens up and you see the chair, right?
Yeah.
On normal people tour, you don't get to go on the other side of the wall and get close to the chair. They tell you not to touch it. They said that there's people that sat in it. And one guy, like I think, died like 18 months later. I don't know if you can contribute that to the chair.
There was a guy that said that he was having problems, like he couldn't walk, and he still has problems walking to this day, and he had heart surgery issues and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he had surgery like a week later or something like that. That's what it was, and he still can't walk. They said someone was having issues, and they collapsed, and they actually pulled them. They showed video of them wheeling this person out in a wheelchair with oxygen and all that, and they said where she collapsed was actually right above it upstairs, right above the chair. To me, this is the most haunted thing in that building. This is the thing that affected me the most. And the thing that I told you, if you remember from this case, what did David Glatzel see?
What he saw?
What did David Glatzel see when he went into that house with the waterbed?
Oh, was it a hand?
No. He saw a full body apparition of...
Oh, my God, I can't even think of it.
An old man wearing a flannel shirt.
Yes.
What did I tell you that I felt sitting in the chair?
Yeah, like in your third eye, you saw an old man. You specifically mentioned flannel.
Yes, I said I saw an old man wearing a flannel. I didn't physically see him. It was in my third eye, in my vision. And the chair wasn't moving, but I could see the chair rocking back and forth, and I could see this, what was supposed to have been an old man rocking back and forth in this chair. As soon as they opened that trap door, this is when Brandy ran out of the room.
I was good until they opened the trap door. I could feel the energy, but I was waiting for it. And the minute that they opened it, I was like, nope. And I went outside with the guide because she wouldn't even look at the chair either.
Interesting.
I walked right in front of the chair and looked right at it, and it was...
I got close to it.
It was creepy to me. Like, part of me is like, I kind of understand now. I know Zach probably does this a lot for shows for the entertainment value, but I kind of understand, like, I had this weird desire to want to touch the chair. I didn't, but I kind of get where he's coming from some of those episodes. I think I think some of those times where he's like, I want to touch this might be actual, like, real, not just for the show, because I literally had this weird desire to touch the chair, and that's when I turned around and I'm like, I need to leave.
It's like when you tell your kid, don't touch that. They're like, Why not? Or should I touch it?
What's gonna
Oh,
happen? If I
side
do?
note, there was I don't know if we've gotten to that room, but there was a room that had a picture that was painted that came from one of Hitler's collections or something that Zach refuses
Yeah,
to
he won't
touch.
touch it. It's the
He
only.
touched it once, and it really
never
messed
touch
him
it
up,
again.
and
Yeah.
he'll never touch it
This was
again.
in his study. There was the little doll in that room that had the SLR camera. They said they saw someone pop up in the SLR camera and walk towards the doll. I totally forgot about that room. Yeah, that's the only painting in the house that's behind glass because he refuses to touch it.
And there's a doll that has real human hair coming out of it, and it's has an attachment of a little girl, which I saw, and I pointed to everybody where the little girl was standing, and she was standing next to another gentleman that was standing there, and he kind of looked to his side like, oh crap, and kind of nudged his way closer to whoever he was with, because as soon as I pointed out, he's like, nope.
That's funny.
That room also had the murder doll in it.
Yep.
The little porcelain doll that had the really long dress that had all the bloodstains on it. Because I think, I can't remember how the story went. Someone in her family, this little girl had this doll. Someone in her family died, and she hugged them, like they were stabbed or something, and she hugged them and got their blood on her doll. And this doll's been passed down from generation and ended up at the museum. But yeah, that chair.
That chair really messed me up. That was the part of the second half of this house is the part that really messed with me, and so I had a hard time.
So, going back to the Conjuring 3, again, I don't know that David had 43 spirits, but I, in my personal belief, can confirm he did see an old man wearing a flannel shirt that was not actually a human spirit. This was inhuman. This was not something that ever had a physical body.
Cool.
I could, like I said, I could feel my
But
shoulders
portrayed
started.
itself as a human.
Okay.
Yeah, it tried to
Okay.
look like a person, and we've seen that a lot with inhuman entities. This is very negative, very, very bad, malicious thing. So I can confirm, in my opinion, that what David Gletzel saw and what Arnie went through probably was actual demonic possession. And my shoulder's starting to hurt.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Did you go into that witch room at all?
What's that room?
Remember the
Oh,
have
and
that
the shrunken head?
the head? Yeah, the head. Is it a shrunken head?
It looked like it.
Yeah, kind of like some weird. Oh, it's like her severed head. It's like this witch's severed head.
I think it
this-
was just in the hallway we walked past it. I don't think it was in a room.
No, it's in a room. You
Yeah,
go
it's in a room.
into a room and it's
Kind of like the
little
Peggy doll.
U-shape.
You kind of come around the corner, then see it.
Oh,
Go
we
around.
went into a room where there was
It's like witch stuff and
it was
Like
a
Blair
man's-
Witch,
dolls,
like
like
Blair
little
Witch Project.
No,
stick
it was
dolls,
like
yeah.
someone's face, like the skin off their face was. in
No, it
the-
was like the whole severed head.
I remember.
we went in there.
Yeah, we went
yeah,
in
we
there.
went in there.
I didn't pay much attention to that.
Yeah,
'Cause they just had
get
you-
nothing in there, but I just wanted
They
to
just
know if there's
they
anything
they
about
had
it.
you walk in real quick. It was kind of like the Peggy room where you walked in.
I think they
walked
said that
around.
you're not supposed to say anything in that room. I
Yeah,
think that
something
was the
like
thing
that.
that they say that you're not supposed to talk in there. But then when we're on the investigation, no one ever says anything.
Well,
so it's
you weren't
talking.
supposed to. It's like the spirit that's attached to the face or whatever, the head
I do
doesn't.
remember that.
It
okay.
doesn't want to be recognized. So
Yeah.
it's not that you can't talk in the room. It's they tell you not to talk to the.
It was a
actual-
mummified woman's head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They tell you not to talk to the head. You can talk in the room. Apparently the spirit doesn't like to be recognized. I don't know if there's an actual spirit attached to it or not.
It
but-
doesn't like being at the museum. It doesn't like being a center of attention. It wishes it was buried.
Oh.
So what do? Put it on display
So
and talk about how it doesn't want to be
There was-
looked at.
2 more rooms or 3 more rooms. There was a Navy room, and that room was kind of like,
The Titanic room.
yeah, it was like a ship to do with the Titanic or some boat afterwards. I can't remember the name of the boat. I went in that room and I was just like,
Splendor. Or
yeah, the Splendor. I was just like, this room has the most positive energy out of everything that's on this half of the building. But there was a room where some lady basically tried to document her own stages of demonic possession.
Yes,
And they found
that
her
is
dead
very
in the
very
chair.
interesting.
That was a creepy fucking room.
That-
Yeah.
That had a lot of weird energy.
I want to know what she was going into. Was that like different dimensions? Do you think that was different dimensions that she was like finding out?
She was creating her own.
Wavelengths.
Boxes.
Like she was getting
Yeah.
different wavelengths and hearing different things coming through.
For me, when I was looking at the equipment and just listening to it and just reading the story and looking at the photos, because I can see things in photos, it looked to me like different stages of her possession. But as she was going through her different stages in possession, it's almost like she was, kind of astral projecting at the same time. Like she was leaving her body and the possession was fully taking over, and almost like she was trying to get back to her body, and trying to force it out, and she just couldn't. And she was just trying to find a wavelength to get back to her body, is how I feel.
Yeah, if people don't understand, this lady was documenting herself for 24 hours, and you just see the deterioration.
And like they found a lot of
24 hours.
Polaroids after she was dead, and she took them all herself.
Within 24 hours of the possession.
And you can see how her body changed in that 24 hours from looking like just a normal person to looking like almost a skeletal figure. They had in the room like a little mannequin set up, like how her room was set up. They had her actual Ouija board that she used, her actual equipment. Yeah. Now, the sound that we hear going on is just some shit that Zach made up because he, at that point, hadn't turned on the equipment. I think since they had someone turn it on, and they actually put a recorder in there and got an EVP in it, but they didn't play the EVP for us. But the sound that you heard going in that room was just stuff that Zach made up before he knew what the machines actually sounded like. But the other room that really got Brandy is there was in 2011, Zach bought the Demon House.
Right.
And we watched that episode of him investigating the house. So they actually boarded Zach into this house. And like when they were doing the preliminary investigation, like one of the guys that was with them, you could see a shadow figure following him around. I know during the investigation of this house, like this is the house where I guess the little boy was seeing stuff. They took him to the hospital, and he walked backwards up the wall.
Yeah.
Zach, bought the house, was investigating it. There was one part where he heard like a demon growl, and without having Brandy confirm this, I knew that was legit. That was an actual EVP of something growling at him. Zach got up and ran out of the room. There's a whole more to this. You could probably find it on YouTube or something like that. I don't want to get too much into this, but after that investigation, he tore the house down, except for the stairs that led into the basement and the dirt that was underneath the stairs. And I think the dirt underneath the stairs was used for some like satanic rituals or something like that.
And then the items that were under the dirt.
Yes. So all of that he moved to the museum. I didn't feel anything from that room.
That energy for me was palpable. I couldn't stay in there for very long, just like with the chair. Both of those particular rooms just drained me a lot, and it made me feel unsafe. I felt like my anxiety was coming up, plus with having a mask on the entire time and not being able to bring any water with me, I was just very drained and dehydrated.
Yeah.
And it was not good for me to be in there because with my abilities, those kinds of objects or attachments would love to get their hands on somebody like me.
Got it.
See, and I had actually taken a bag of my crystals. I had my obsidian, selenite, amethyst, sunstone, purple tourmaline, and I left it in the hotel room. I also brought a bottle of my smudge spray so we could use it after when we went outside the museum. I also left that in the hotel room. So as we're waiting for the Uber, I'm doing energy work on Brandy. As we're in the Uber, I'm doing energy work on Brandy. As we're walking to my car to get all of my stuff my smudge spray, I was doing energy work on Brandy. Was able to get the smudge spray and start clearing her and clearing myself.
I just felt my chest was very heavy. My heart was racing. I felt like I was going to collapse down to my knees.
Oh, wow.
I got a bottle of water. One of the guys put me in a chair, sat me down in front of a mister, and had me drink my water because I felt like I was going to pass out.
Wow. Just overwhelmed with energy? Okay.
Yep. And overwhelmed with energy and anxiety. So all of those things, dehydration. I couldn't really breathe. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I was gasping for air inside my mask.
See, and I had a bag of particular crystals that I picked out not too long before we went on vacation.
Just so you can leave them.
Just so I could leave them in the hotel room.
So the energy kicked my ass the second half of that house. I went through it once. I will never go in there
But
again.
part of me wonders,
Okay.
like, had I brought those stones in, especially the obsidian, if it would have helped or if it would have made things worse.
Or made things not as active.
Maybe. I don't know. I won't know unless I go back and take them with me. I should have bring the smudge spray is what I specifically brought the smudge spray to take to the museum so we could cleanse ourselves afterwards. That's what I was most frustrated that I left in my car.
And I am going to still, even though we sprayed our t-shirts, our free t-shirts that we got because we made it through the museum, I bought some Palo Santo and some sage smudge kit that they had in the gift shop, and I am going to smudge my t-shirt because
Yeah, I sprayed the shit out of mine.
Okay.
I used my smudge spray and sprayed it. Mine's still sitting in my car.
Can you wash it in the washing machine with sage? Wash it? Can you wash it?
can I wash it?
Probably could. You'd have loose sage in your washing machine.
That'd be cool. Everything's
I'm
getting
sure you
sage.
could add some like oils or something to your
You probably put
detergent
some essential oils like with lavender or like
and add it to your
because
laundry
basically that's what
detergent.
my
Yeah.
smudge spray is just essential oils with like sage and
I
cypress.
have an
and-
idea. You can make some laundry detergent with
Paranormal
sage.
laundry detergent.
So when you're done ghost hunting, wash your clothes with some sage. Sage your clothes.
Patent
I guess you
pending.
could.
Oh, we went through.
I'll just give out free ideas all the time.
Yay!
So yeah, that was our wonderful, awesome,
That's
almost killed me experience.
That's badass.
So was it those two rooms then? The one with the rocking chair and what was the other one?
The
The
demon
demon
house.
The demon
Staircase.
house. Okay. What like, was it? That like the wood from the stairs? Was it the dirt? Like anything you were kind of feeling?
Mostly the dirt, because
Okay.
you know it's comes from the earth, so it's very
Yeah.
tainted more so than the stairs. Because I mean, you could always burn that shit, right?
Yeah.
Dirt necessarily can't be burned. You know,
Yeah.
You'd have to cleanse it, you know, some other way. But yeah, between the chair and seeing the old man in the white and green plaid
So
shirt.
you saw it too? Then you saw.
Yeah, briefly
How
as I was
many-
running out the door.
How many
Okay.
spirits in total do you think are in that house?
The number of spirits I counted in that house was 3, 1 room. There's like 26 spirits in that house.
Oh wow.
Oh wow, yeah,
Okay.
that is quite a few.
So for all those people
That's a
leaving
big
reviews
house,
saying
though.
it wasn't
Yeah.
haunted enough, 26 spirits.
But
That's
it's
pretty
about-
haunted.
Yeah, and,
And
it's
that's,
about like
I
how
mean,
many you get.
and you should say at least 3 of those, 4 of those were non-human spirits.
Yeah.
So, or entities, whatever. The rest were human. So.
Yeah, they talked about on like the video while we were waiting in line. They said when Zach bought the house, like someone told him there was like some 12-foot demon. There wasn't. Oh, there's a sex bed that Lamar Odom almost OD'd on
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that
from
room.
the Bunny Ranch. They're like, we'll show you the stains on the bed with this blue light, and I'm like, yeah, that's not blood. You got a sex bed. That's probably man stuff.
Those are
She mentioned
Lamar
that too.
tadpoles.
mention it.
Those are
Yeah, some owner of like the Bunny Ranch, he claimed that Lamar,
Yeah, Dennis,
Dennis Hoff or whatever.
yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. I was in a room with a sex bed.
Well, you were saying that a lot of the items that are in that house aren't necessarily haunted. They're just
Right.
things that he's collected.
Oh, the bed was supposed to be cursed.
And I
Yes,
think
it's
that
cursed.
some of the items that he has just collected, he doesn't know that are haunted because nobody's told him that before.
Uh-huh.
So I think some of them, he's just like, oh, it's just something I collected and it's just sitting out there in the open. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff is just, and they tell you that right at the beginning of the tour. So if anyone's thinking about going to Zach Bagans Museum, I had a good time, except for Brandy trying to die. She had a good time. It was I had a good experience. Just keep in mind that if you go in the summertime, it's going to be hot as balls. They don't let you take water in.
And you're wearing a
So-
mask.
And you're wearing a
I'm
mask.
wearing a mask. There's no AC.
Or you can show proof.
No, not anymore. They changed
No,
that.
it's
again.
vaccinated or not, you're wearing a mask. So my opinion, if you go do this, do it in the wintertime,
Early spring.
early spring, fall time, not in the summertime. I think some of the videos that they showed of people like passing out could possibly be contributed to dehydration because there's no AC in this house. This house was built in the 30s. They didn't retrofit it with AC or anything like that. So house is really hot. You're not allowed food or drink in
Hot
there.
and haunted.
So it's definitely worth checking out. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. Again, they straight up tell you on the tour, not everything in there is haunted. A lot of the stuff is just Zach thought it was interesting. So like a shrunken head and a brain, like not haunted, but it's just interesting stuff.
Like,
Right.
I think one of the objects was like Tom Edison's desk or some crap like that, some historical desk.
Probably, like I said, Wyatt Earp's Bible.
Right.
Like it's not haunted. It's just cool.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of cool artifacts, stuff that's just bought to go fit the theme of the rooms. that they're in.
Oddities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think
right.
Patrick Swayze's haunting his tooth? He's sticking around his tooth just in case.
No.
Damn.
No. Sharon Tate was with her wedding dress though.
Oh, was she?
No.
No.
No. Unfortunately, there was none of the celebrities.
No celebrities.
They did have Harold Ramis's jumpsuit from Ghostbusters too. None of the
I
celebrities were
remember
there.
seeing it.
They had better things to do.
I found it
Right.
interesting when they were talking about that cauldron that they said that anybody who touched it
Oh, Ed
after
Gein.
that.
Oh, that's the
died.
one that was like, yeah, everyone that touched it died.
But it's right there
Man.
for everyone to touch, right?
It's
And
they
they
got a
had
big
like
glass
the
case.
Oh,
last
yeah,
known
that's right.
picture of him also. He's a creepy little.
Yeah.
The picture that they took like 2 or 3 days before he died.
Yeah.
Looks like the guy from Monster House.
Yes.
We could do an episode on Ed Gein.
Get off my lawn, kids.
So over 20 spirits in
Never
this house,
cracker.
which is about the average of every house. So everyone house has about 20 spirits in it. So watching you eat and sleep and other stuff.
Masturbate.
Yeah.
They're watching you.
The truth is out there. X-Files.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep, they're
Ghosts
watching
like
you.
to touch your butt.
Facts.
I'm gonna find a way to work that into every episode.
That'll be good.
All right, should we call that an episode?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
That was our adventures of the Haunted Museum.
happy birthday.
Happy
birthday, Beaker.
Oh, that was creepy. It's like the twins from The Shining. Come play with us, Danny.
Play with us.
I'm gonna have
Victor.
nightmares tonight. Jesus
Happy
Christ.
birthday, Beaker. Blow out your candles.
Your candles are down here.
Oh God. Well, on
Don't
that
you
note,
don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies.
Adios.
This is the EVP Podcast.